Refocus.
I'd like to begin by sharing a story that was posted on myimmigrationstory.com. It was from a lady from Alabama named Cassie. I've been with my husband 9 years. We have 2 boys together. He is Hispanic. My husband has paid his taxes and has been in the United States for right at 20 years. I used to be proud to be an Alabamian, but I'm ashamed of what it's become by treating any human this way. Have they considered the families they are hurting? Me and my kids are citizens. Have you thought of the citizens you are hurting in this process also? Now, the story probably doesn't seem to have much significance on its own, but as I dig deeper into my topic, its importance will become relevant. My goal is to change your overall impression of immigrants by providing information to prove the misconceptions wrong. I'm going to do this by explaining the misconceptions, proving them wrong, and letting you know what you can do about it. I'll begin by giving a brief overview of some of the misconceptions that the general public has on immigrants and their contributions to society. In a recent New York Times CBS News poll, there was a question asked that had overwhelming results, according to an article in the Daily Beast. The question was whether or not immigrants weaken or strengthen the economy. 74% responded that immigrants weaken the economy, while only 17% responded that they strengthen it. An Arizona State University professor, Zai Wang, explains this topic further. In an article titled Public Study Illegal Immigrants, she quoted saying, "The public consistently perceives immigrants, especially undocumented immigrants, as criminal." She then went on to conduct a new study on the topic and concluded that the right of evidence should suggest that immigration is not related to more crime. Is what she is saying valid? Technically, illegal immigrants are criminal. They do break the law by entering the United States illegally. But immigrants also have a lot more to lose by committing crimes here than most typical Americans would. I'm going to use an example of Bob. Bob was at the cabin for the weekend with some friends and is on the way home. He has beer and his rifle in his truck. So on the way home, he is extra careful that he doesn't speed, and when he does take a break, he makes sure he is careful where he parks. Any little slip-up could lead to a much heavier fine since he has weapons and alcohol in his vehicle. This is similar to how illegal immigrants have to tiptoe through American society. They realize that one little speeding ticket or parking ticket could lead to a lot worse things like fines and also possibly them being deported. Now, many of these misconceptions may seem pretty vague and obvious, but as I go to prove them wrong, they will become more clear. According to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, in 1960, the violent crime rate was at 160.9. And this rate continued to increase until, in 1991, it maxed out at 758.2. From there on, it continued to decrease until 2010, where it was at 403.6. In an article titled Immigrants in the United States, in 1995, which was the time when the crime rate was beginning to drop, the number of immigrants was around 24.3 million. In 2007, this number was at 37.3 million. So if we think about this, the violent crime rate is decreasing. At the same time, the number of immigrants is increasing. I have a couple graphs here to show this. As you can see, the number of homicides slowly started to drop around 1992 to 94 and continued to drop, but at the same time, the number of immigrants were slowly increasing. And here's another graph showing a relationship between violent crime and the immigrant share of the population. And you can see right again around 1991 to 93, the violent crime rate started to drop at the same time that the immigrants really started to increase in the United States. So what can we conclude from this? We can conclude that more immigrants do not result in more crime. I'm next go on to an example in Alabama which relates to the story I talked about at the beginning. In June of 2011, there was a law passed called HB 56. And this law prevented undocumented immigrants from receiving benefits from the state or local level, attending public college, or applying for work. And this is basically a law in Alabama to crack down on illegal immigrants and do what they can to slow down immigration, or if possible, try to remove it. But what many people don't know are the many downsides that came with this law. In an article titled "The Immigration Impact," the Associated General Contractors found that construction-related employment fell from June to October. In June, it was 85,900, and in October, it was down to 80,700. So that's roughly 5,000 jobs lost in 4 months. An economist from the University of Alabama, Sam Addy, guesses that Alabama's economy will shrink by approximately $10.8 billion if undocumented workers are driven from the state. He is quoted saying only a small number of jobs vacated by illegal workers would be filled by legal residents. Now, what does this show? Does it show that immigrants really help the economy? Possibly, but not necessarily. But we can tell from this Alabama example what happens when they are taken out of the economy. This crushes the misconception that immigrants steal American jobs. Here's another graph to help show this example. This was from an American Community Survey from 2004. Here you can see the number of Americans in the construction field is only 25%, and that is the area on the left with the maroon shaded, and the rest are all immigrants. So if there would be laws to crack down on immigrants in this field, the construction field would most likely be hurting pretty bad. We've seen some misconceptions and we've seen why they aren't true. So what I'm trying to get across here, what you can do about this, is just take a step back and realize why immigrants come here. In an interview with David Levan, he agreed with the idea of the Alabama law not being the best for the economy. He is quoted saying that immigration is like a fact of life, just like gravity. He concludes that it is foolish of us to try to stop it. It's sort of like trying to stop the waves from flowing. So after looking at all this, we can tell the misconceptions are all wrong. I'm not trying to force anyone to go out and join rallies to try to stop the HB 56 law or other laws like this, though if you would, that would be awesome. But if I know that I've altered the initial judgment that people give when they think of immigrants and the contribution immigrants also give to society, that would be great. And if I've done that, I would feel successful. Thank you.